Hello, vinyl community, and welcome back to the channel. This is David Bianco. Today I'm going to be talking about a concert film that came out in 1984. I remember seeing it in the theater, October 1984, and now a record for this has been released, which is a double album, which has all the songs on it, versus the original one, which came out as a single LP back in 1984. We're going to talk about this film, Stop Making Sense, by Talking Heads, and compare these two versions. That's coming up next on today's Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion. So today I'm going into a bit of uncharted territory. Why? Well, because generally I'm not a huge fan of live recordings. That's just me. But I have to say, and I did say recently on a panel, that my favorite soundtrack recording is Stop Making Sense by Talking Heads. Now, some of you might even be surprised that I even like the Talking Heads. Well, funny enough, I had a good friend in high school who really loved the Talking Heads back in the 70s. And I got turned on to the Talking Heads and Roxy music through him. And those were kind of a little bit out of my normative classic rock kind of roots. But I surely did see the talent there. Well, I went to see this movie in October of 1984 when it came out in the U.S. It had been debuted at a San Francisco International Film Festival earlier in the year to rave reviews. I mean, this film really did get top-notch reviews by everybody. And it's just that it's so tight. And it doesn't even almost in some ways feel or sound like a concert. And the energy that's just there is unbelievable. And now this album has been re-released in a double album instead of one, with more of the songs from the film than it originally had. And in fact, it is being re-released in theaters here in August and September of 2023 in an IMAX format as well. And I definitely will be going to see that. I just want to relive that experience from 1984. As a matter of fact, when I saw that movie, it was late in the evening. I think it was about a 10 or 10:30 showing, if I remember right, maybe even a little later. And about 2/3 of the way into it, we started to hear some real raucous noise in the theater and some vibration of the ground. And we were thinking maybe an earthquake, but we were in Houston, Texas. Well, it turned out that just before midnight, they had started to show the Rocky Horror Picture Show in the theater next to us. And I don't have to tell you how crazy people get during a Rocky Horror Picture Show event. And so it was a wild evening in a lot of ways. But this concert really turned me on. And the recording of it is immaculate. And it is so strong in terms of the power and the punch of the recording. So what we have here is actually a difference in these albums in the sense that the original, and I have a UK original here on EMI. All right, I have a UK original. And of course, this new one is a double album. And so there's more songs. So when I compared the two, of course, I only compared the songs that were common to the two. And basically, the new one is really well done. It sounds really good. The final is very quiet. But the original still has a difference in airiness and energy that just is a little more open and just a little more powerful. And maybe that's an emotional response that I have because this is what I've been listening to for all these years. But it does have definitely a little more breadth and openness, kind of like the feel of being in a concert hall. So it really does retain that, and it shines even more when you then compare it to the new double album from the soundtrack. Now, this is very solid. It has some very good punch. It has some very good mid-range and brightness to it. It does have some very decent aura to it. It has some openness to it, but it isn't quite as much as the original. But to get these extra songs, it's well worth it. And it is really a strong sounding album. But again, we're comparing it to a UK first press, 1984. And again, it just has a little bit more of that open air concert kind of feel to it. In this repress or remaster, it really is something I think they're trying to go for impact. Its punch is a little stronger in some ways, and maybe that is why you're not feeling as much of that openness, because the punch is, I think, maybe trying to be a bit overemphasized, if I would say that. But it's powerful, and it's not exaggerated to an extreme degree. It's not unpleasant. It's just when you compare it to this one, you kind of pick up that nuance to it. So either one is great. The new one has more on it, which is, of course, of benefit. So this is like $30-35 double album, great value. I would suggest if you haven't heard this, listen to it. It's a great sounding concert that doesn't sound like a concert, which in some ways I really enjoy. Because when songs get interrupted by people or there's a lot of screaming or whistling, sometimes that takes away from things, to me at least. But either one of these, you can't go wrong. And I really strongly suggest that if Stop Making Sense is coming to a theater in your area in the next month and a half, you take the time to see it and to listen to it, because it's a multi-channel presentation. This has been released on 5.1 before, and it is more than a concert. It's an experience. And the good news is, no matter how you listen to this, whether you see the movie in and of itself or you just listen to the record, you get that feel. And that's why they called this one of the greatest concert videos ever made. And I believe that stands up still today. So as always, I thank you for watching me today. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so by pressing on the bell and the all option below. A thumbs up or like is appreciated, as are any comments. I always love reading those and getting back to you. So until next time, thanks again for joining me on our Safe and Sound Texas audio excursion. Take care, everybody.